Hey, welcome. My morning, or afternoon in this case, it's pretty alright. I haven't been doing much hard today. Just enjoying my last Friday off before I resume work next week. How's your day going or starting? Oh, anatomy studies? That sounds good. That's something I should do as well sometimes, but you know, I decided to focus mostly on environments, so I end up never actually doing any anatomy studies, even if I should. Hey, Luca, no worries. Not a problem. Then you have more willpower than I do, because I've been saying that for ages. Just I have to do some character studies, but you know, I just say it. I never go through with it. But I think it's because it's not as fun for me. So in my head, it's like, yeah, I have to do it because I want to be able to do some characters as well. But then I have more fun with environments, so in the end, I never end up doing it. And you know, one day might change, but for now, I know myself. But yeah, I think it's good that you're doing it. It's, I mean, it gives you more flexibility in terms of what you can do. So that's always good. it's been fun, then I guess that's the best. If you're having fun when doing studies, I don't think there's more you can ask. Because, you know, sometimes we just do it because we know we have to learn and we have to do it, but when you actually manage to make it fun, then it becomes a lot easier to do it. Otherwise, you know, it might feel like a chore sometimes. But that's good, pretty awesome. Oh yeah, when you study something and then you actually see the progress and it doesn't take that long to see the progress, that's always like extra motivation boost. Because when you try to practice things that you already are good or at least decent at, it might take a while and, you know, you start to feel frustrated because you're like, why am I not getting better at this? It's like I've been trying so hard. And I think that always happens with like even artists that are pretty good at something. They may feel stuck because they don't see any change in their art even if they're trying, because maybe they're at a very high level. So when you start something new, then it's like more exciting. Yeah, being a noob is always good. I think, like in games, when you first start something that you still have that wanderlust and you're trying to learn how everything works and kind of explore and get around, I think that's the best. And it's the same with art, I feel like. Although it's even better when you are like truly a beginner, because I think you know that you have a lot to learn, but you don't really realize how much you have to learn. I think when you are more experienced and you know how much work it takes to learn a new skill, then you're like, oh god, there's so much to learn, but it's definitely still exciting to do. There's one thing I haven't done in ages, which is doing some painting studies. And maybe it's something that I'd like to do again, just focus on, you know, capturing the style and workflow that other artists use. And probably because for a long time, when you're a beginner, they usually, the advice that you hear online is to, you know, when you're doing painting studies, just stick to master paintings. Because if you study from people that aren't masters, then you risk learning to do things in a wrong way, because you don't have the eye to tell, you know, if this person, which is maybe a more experienced artist than you but still intermediate or something like that, it's making things in a quote-unquote wrong way, then you might pick that up. But I think once you have the eye and the experience, then you can study pretty much everything that you want without running into that risk, as long as you know that, you know, people do things in different ways for different reasons. Yeah, that's for sure. And it's something that you can hear around a lot, where beginner artists can start copying anime characters. And that's something that I've been doing in my very early days of art as well, when I still didn't know anything and I wasn't even into environment yet. I was just copying anime characters, but then I learned, you know, if you want to do characters, you should first learn actual anatomy, and then you learn how to stylize it. And I mean, some people might be able to, you know, learn to draw things a certain way, and then they can just stick to that by copying. And then but the problem is that in that way you only learn to do things one way, and you don't even know if you what you're learning is wrong. So I think it's kind of dangerous. I mean, you can do it for sure, but I wouldn't recommend it. And like you said, it seems like it's simple, but there's actually a lot of knowledge that goes into it. Yeah, exactly. Ghibli characters are like super simple, but if you see their art books, you will see a lot of sketches and gestures and expression. So the final character design might be simple, but there's a lot of understanding and research that goes into that before it can reach that level of simplicity. Because one mistake that I think many people, not just artists, but people in general, when they see something simple, they think it's easy and kind of banal. But they don't realize that sometimes a simple characters needs require a lot of work before it can reach that simplicity. And we kind of have this tendency often to think, you know, complex things are better for some reason. Like when you see really detailed pieces or very ornated artwork with crazy amount of details or rendering, we always kind of have this tendency. It's the same reason why I think hyper-realistic drawings are popular, because in my personal opinion, this is just, you know, something, my own opinion, I don't really like photorealistic drawings, especially portraits. I don't really like them, because I can appreciate the technical ability of the artist to reproduce the photograph level of details with a different medium, so pencil or pen, but it kind of doesn't have much artistic value, if that's the right word to me, because they're basically transposing a photograph one-to-one, and to me personally at least, I don't really enjoy neither doing or saying that too much. But of course everyone is free to do whatever they like doing and enjoy. Hey Tom, welcome. Thank you. Glad you like it. I think I'll soon try to add some animals like I've been mentioning for the past couple streams, like a fish or two. Maybe a frog? I don't know. I'll have to pull up some references. But yeah, I'm also wondering, because I've been streaming this piece for like the past 5 days, including today, and I kind of don't want to overdo it, because I imagine people would like to see different things. So if I decide to maybe detail this piece further, I can just do it off stream and then post the final time lapse on YouTube. Just so you guys don't have to sit through, I don't know, another 10 streams of me doing details on this piece. Not the most fun to watch. Animation over it? Honestly, I don't know. I would like to try, but I really don't know much about animating things. But it could be fun to try in the future, for sure. I've been seeing a friend of mine kind of learning these, like doing animated backgrounds, and it's really fun to watch. So I'd like to learn to do it as well. But I think even that is just a whole lot of things to learn, you know, how things move and what's a good kind of animation for environmental things. Yeah, something like that. An animal or two just around the scene could be nice. Otherwise it kind of feels empty. That's another thing I really have to do, animal studies. Well, I don't want to say I've been doing them, but I've been going out a little bit at the aquarium in my city to sketch fish and reptiles. So I think that's good practice too. But I barely just got started, like I went twice. Quite literally. I'll just have to go quite a few more times. And we also have a zoo nearby, which it's a safari zoo, which is better for the animals because they get open fields and a ton of space. But I don't think you can actually stop your vehicle to draw them. So that's kind of unfortunate. I cannot really study animals from life. Let's try to look at these references and see if I can add a fish or two. Because I have a photo that I took in Japan with some fish as well. They weren't in the original reference because I think this was very shallow. But yeah, we can try to add a fish maybe. Is this good for sketching? Maybe just use a pencil. Let's see. I don't even know how big I want this to be. Yeah, probably this big should be fine. Yeah, I mean, for sure, animation is definitely a lot of work to learn, especially if you're doing it for characters. Maybe if you just stick to like simple foliage movement or, you know, wind effects, things like that, it could be. I'm not gonna say easy because it's never easy, but you know, definitely a lot simpler than just doing a full character animation. We can have a fish coming here behind the rocks. I don't know if this should be the typical koi carps, maybe. But maybe not. We'll see. Sure, Luca. Thank you. Hey, Nitros. Welcome. Let's see. Because the problem of what I'm doing right now with this fish is that it's basically gonna point all the attention here, but there's nothing really going on. I mean, the fish themselves could be the focus of the action. Otherwise, I could just, I don't know, add a lily, but I'm not sure if that's a good idea. It could be like a frog here. I don't know. Could be a fun thing, fun idea. Excited for any Lightbox talks? Not really, but not because they're not exciting, because there are plenty of exciting talks. But that's kind of the problem for me, because there are way too many talks and way too many things to check the programs, and also time zone difference, which makes it really tricky for me, because sometimes they're late at night. So this year I kind of decided, you know what, there are like so many cool artists, but I decided to just not even check out the program, because it kind of, the same thing kind of happened with the Draw Fest that was organized by, I don't know by who, but it was on Japan time zone, and basically all the talks were from like 3 in the morning to 8 in the morning, and I was like, as much as I love learning from these artists and seeing things, it's just not something that I can do. And one thing that I feel like is, I noticed that I don't learn as much from online talks anymore, because I get a feeling that most of them are geared toward beginner artists, and they kind of treat the same topics more or less over and over again. I'm not saying they're not useful, because for sure they are useful, but I think right now for me, for my art, I benefit from doing it and asking for direct feedback on what I'm doing, rather than listening to a talk. I think the ones that I go to more eagerly are those where I can just see the artist paint rather than talk, just because I have so many artists that I enjoy watching create stuff, even if it's not something that I have to learn from, but just something that you can enjoy as entertainment, pretty much. Hey, welcome! Awesome that you can participate today. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that makes sense if they keep it for other classes and whatnot. But yeah, sometimes it's not even, about techniques. It's just, you learn by doing and asking peers for feedback. To be honest, I think that's one of the quickest way to learn. Because after a while, if you're just watching tutorials and trying things, you might not learn that much or as fast as you'd like. So I think personally I noticed that when I create something and then ask for feedback, I usually get more learning out of it, because it's also specialized or tailored to what I'm doing. So if someone says, oh, maybe the shape of this rock kind of sucks because it's too complex, the silhouette is not that great, or it's too in the middle of the composition, then I know from that piece of advice I learned that, oh, maybe I have to watch out about centering these elements in my composition. I remember still a piece of feedback that I got a long time ago from my friend Geoffrey Arnault, and he was saying, you know, you're really improving. This was like, I don't know, 5 years ago, 4 years ago. It was like, you're really improving, but I noticed that all of your paintings are done with like backlighting, with the sun low at the horizon in the back, visible in the sky, and all of your painting have the same lighting conditions. And I didn't even notice until he told me that. And that's definitely something that you cannot learn from just doing online classes or tutorials, because it's specific of your own art. That's why I think when you get feedback, usually it's more useful than just learning from a tutorial. Oh man, the dogs are going crazy in the neighborhood. Okay, let's maybe try to add some colors to this fish and see. So do I want to make it this nice bright red? Maybe, or maybe not. Can add some cool feel. And maybe we could give him a white base like these. I don't know, just experimenting. Maybe it's a little strange if he only has the white face. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We don't have to commit to anything yet. We'd probably have to add some hint of eyes at least. I'm not entirely sure. Let's do this. And then we can probably just play around with the idea of reflection overlapping these. So let's call this reflection. Maybe get these and then add some. Some reflection. Yeah, I don't really like this kind of face on the fish. Let's see. Let's do it fully. Same color. And then we should also consider adding the shadows. So if the light is coming more or less from the top, but maybe, yeah, it's mostly from the top. Let's see. Oops. We should maybe do something like this. And I think we can kind of keep it sharp because the fish is not gonna be that far from the bottom. And we can also play around with the color. Make it more saturated and make it maybe cooler, like these. Let's see what kind of... Okay, yeah, that's nice. Can probably add... Yeah, the reflection can probably be better than this, so let's get rid of that. Probably wondering if we should do a little clean line art pass on this fish. If we want to give them like the animated look. But if that's the case, I could also keep the colors flat, so maybe that's not necessary. This fish is kinda in the shadow, so we're not gonna add a very strong cast shadow from it. Man, I really don't like the eyes on this one fish. They're so misplaced. I still think that maybe this fish is a little bit too eye-grabbing, the red one, so maybe we can make it white and orange as well. Just start with warm white. And then go cool white in the shadow. And the thing with the white is, sure, it's gonna disappear a little bit, but that's kind of the goal. because we don't want this fish to be the center of attention that much, at least. We can just do these and keep this stripe up here. And then we could just, you know, do a couple bright orange patches. This could probably be a little bit more red. Maybe not that red, a little bit more orange. Yeah, definitely feeling that it works a little bit better this way instead of full red orange. I mean, I think this music is kind of looping forever in the background, so I'll just skip to something else. Yeah, I think this is better. Okay, let's see. It should probably be clear as well. Not clear, but white. Okay. Let's see the next. It's there, but I don't know if I. We could probably change the gesture of that fish slightly, but we'll see. I might also add a few more and not make it based on the line art. maybe this one is gonna be slightly more yellowish instead of that deep orange. And we can give it a little bit of form shadow so it has some more volume. One thing that I like to just take a second to explain, sort of, or at least suggest, is when you're doing shadows, and especially when you're going over different colors this way. So let's take these and let's make a new layer. So say we have this kind of thing, right? Kind of like this fish, and we want to add a shadow to this thing. One thing that I often notice that happens is that people just grab, I don't know, maybe the environment is kind of cool, so they grab a cool color and then they just go over it like this way. They add the shadow, and this might work in certain occasion, but or maybe even use, you know, make a new layer, put it on multiply, and then you just do these. Maybe not this much, but yeah, you get the point, right? But I would say instead of doing something like these, I think it's more useful to try to stop and think what's actually happening. So we know that if the environment is cooler, then the color is getting darker because it's shadow and it's getting cooler. But instead of doing it like this way, you could simply think, you know, if this is the color of the object and this is the color of the environment, you know, let's see. Then we grab these and we move it across to make it cooler and darker this way. And we do this for the white, but then we also do it for the orange. So instead of just going over with the same thing, we grab the orange, we move it across toward the color of the environment, we make it darker, and then we brush. And this is what I did on the fish, very slightly. And I think in general, as a rule of thumb, you're gonna get much better colors if you do this yourself instead of relying on the mixing of the program, because you're taking things into your own hand and you can control this much better than just relying on blending option. So this is what I usually think about when I have to make shadows. I just felt I'd take a second to explain that. Back to the fish. So you see here I had this orange and I wanted to make it slightly darker, so I moved it across toward the color of the environment and then just desaturated it and created this shadow color. But then I'm not going over the white because that's not the color that goes with the white. The white, it's gonna be like, it's very poor in saturation, so the environment is gonna win, so it's gonna be moved more toward the color of the environment, and do something like this instead. Hope it makes sense. Okay, then we can grab the same shadow color as this guy and make the shadow for him too. I kind of want to make it cooler. Yeah, I think maybe we need to move this shadow a little bit. Like these. Something happened with the color. It's kind of strange. I think it's better if I add some more browns into it. Okay, let's see. Oh, so this is what happened. We added too much saturation. Okay. So we're gonna have and I think this is a little bit too sharp, even if it's close, so we're gonna smudge it. And I'm feeling this is really too fat. And just add a little bit of coolness to this shadow. Okay. Hey Mirko. Hey Carlo. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. How you been, Mirko? It's been ages since I heard from you. Oh, is the microphone weak? Let's see, because I don't think... Is this better? Maybe I can also move it a little bit closer. Well, let me know if it's better. A bit more and it's okay. Damn it. Can I go more than this? I don't know. Well, you guys let me know if you can hear me fine. Maybe I can also just lower the music a little bit. Yeah, speak louder. That's another option. Yeah, the thing with the higher microphone is gonna pick up the dogs from outside. That's super annoying. Okay, let's see. I think 3 might be enough. I might do 5 later, but for now I'll keep it to 3. I like to keep it even numbers, usually, for some reason. Don't ask me why. I just think it's better. Okay, let's maybe add... Just plug this thing in. This is of course way too dark, but just to get the shape. And then we can... Because the problem is, if I wanted to have a green frog, then it's a bad idea to go green on green. But I can probably do like a dark green frog or a colorful frog, I don't know. But yeah, probably dark green should be fine. Hey Luca, welcome back. I might have to get a reference for this lily pad too. I'm just kind of winging it, but the shape and volume must be different somehow. I think it's a little bit too fat. But I guess even if it's not super realistic or accurate, it's fine. Can always just tweak it later on. Hey man, welcome to the stream. You finally managed to catch me. I've been here the whole week though. I'll probably try to stream more in the future as well. Alright, let's see Froggy Frog. And then we can go brighter. But then we'll definitely have to add some light to this frog. You too, man. Thanks for dropping by. Yeah, I should probably have a stream schedule so people know when I'm going live instead of just going live randomly. The only problem is that I have to decide a schedule that works. Okay, we got Mr. Frog. For Mr. Frog, I'd like to keep the line art. So I'm just gonna move it to another. This is interesting. Okay, wrong layer. Yep, something like this. So for this lily pad, let's see. It's not too bad, it's not great either. Let's change the shape slightly. I actually don't mind the fact that it turned out to be slightly fat. I think it kind of looks nice and stylized. So I might keep that instead of making it completely flat. It feels like a pillow, you know? Like a frog sitting on a pillow. We can also make the frog a little bit more centered. Or we could make it... no, overlaps. I think it might be too much. Yeah, let's just move it, but keep it the same size. All right. We can probably add some occlusion shadow under the frog, but not too much because otherwise it blends with the frog itself. And then we can just use the same thing for the shadows. Let's see. It's not gonna be too far from the surface, I don't think, but let's do this. Maybe something like these. Then we can just make it a little bit lighter. Although this doesn't really match the direction it's going in. Let's see. It should probably be more like these. Doesn't need to be super precise, but at least makes some kind of sense. Okay, let's get rid of these. And I'll keep another thing separate, which is this nice effect that adds some vibrancy to the shadows by making the edge a little bit saturated. You can see that even if we keep it very soft, very subtle, it definitely adds some vibrancy to the shadows. And we can also make some reflection slightly and shadows a little bit cooler. And we can also, maybe on the same layer, maybe not. Let's do it here. We can do some, actually let's make a new layer. We can add some more water reflection around things. I don't want to go too crazy with these streaks because it's not a very fast flow of water, so maybe we can keep it more subtle. Let's see. And now I'm kind of just painting on the wrong layer. Let's see if we can. Yeah, I think I can probably just merge a few things down at this point. I don't really need to keep it separate because I'm committing to this choice. So let's see. Save. Merge the shadows. Merge this thing. Merge these and these. So everything has been merged down on the same layer. That's kind of how I prefer to work. We'll probably have to work somewhere on the water edge over there, because it's a little bit strange. Trying to go for this dapple light effect, but it's not super straightforward. I think I'll really have to soften these edges, because otherwise it's not going to look correct. Make the light transition more gently. Oh, by the way, if you guys have any question about this painting or other paintings or whatever you like, feel free to ask. And remember, there are no silly questions. This is definitely an interesting effect that I probably should have grabbed some references for, because dapple light on shallow water, it's kind of complex, and I just improvised it, which I think it looks fine, but it's probably not very accurate. But you know, as long as it looks nice, we can pretend it's fine. I also probably just want to reduce some contrast here, because these are a little bit too eye-grabbing to me right now. So just gently brush to reduce the contrast. I think, yeah, by softening this transition a little bit, it definitely helps, making it feel more integrated. Man, everything is so loud outside today. I cannot keep my window open. I just have to die from the heat. Okay, I think it's kind of working. Probably move away from the water for a second and just refine some of the plants at the top, because there's still quite a bit of work to do up there. Let's see, I like this area, so I'll just try to do the same thing over here. Just wondering if I want to add a little bit more of this detailing on the plant. I think so, as long as it's not too much. Makes them feel a little bit more finished. Okay, yeah, I think it's decent in terms of level of fish. Probably just need to knock down the values a little bit. Let's see. Okay, let's maybe change it up for the plants, otherwise they're all gonna look the same. Let's maybe make some sort of bush thing. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I think it can work. And then after we do this, we can just go in and add a bunch of details, like some leaves, whatever. Just so it's looking a little bit more finished. Oh man, what happened to the music? Okay, yeah, I think a bush like this is enough to fill that gap. We don't really need to go crazy with details. maybe another stone back here. I think I still prefer watercolors and gouache when I have to block in things, but when I have to detail, acrylics is a little bit better. I think these rocks are kind of looking way too blue and saturated. Just try to add some gray. Too much. Because I noticed it was kind of looking the same as the grass on the right, so that's not ideal. We're just gonna do these. Okay, I think it's slightly better. So we don't keep those blue rocks. Okay, I think we're almost at the end of today's stream. Let's see. Yeah, I think we did a fair bit of progress. And with the fish and stuff, it's feeling a little bit more finished overall. But I'll definitely do another stream or two on these before wrapping it up. Let's see. I think we could probably go raid a good friend of mine that is streaming. He's an awesome artist, so we can take a look at what he's been up to. I haven't really tried to raid anyone, but let's give it a go. Is this how it works? Let's go. And thank you, by the way, guys, for coming to the stream. It's been fun working on these. Throughout the whole week, I think I've been streaming every day. Okay, is everyone ready? Let's go. Alright, I'll wrap things up in my stream, guys. Go check out Piero if you like. He's awesome. Thank you for coming, and I'll probably see you next week. Bye, guys.